Welcome back, my fellow YouTubers. Welcome back to P.P.R. Presley's Passions and Reactions. And this is your boy Presley. I'd like to thank you all again for stopping by and checking out the channel. Now, this reaction I'm bringing you today is from Screen Prism. The video is from Screen Prism, and it's called Breaking Bad, Jesse Pinkman. He lived for our sins. Now, I'm a big fan of Screen Prism. Big shout out to Screen Prism. You guys do wonderful work. I really enjoy watching your videos. Now, I love how they delve into the story behind the story, what the writers, screenwriters were trying to get across from their show, trying to show the cultural relevance or what the show has meant for the culture, for American culture, or even culture around the world. I'm really interested to see what they have in store for Jesse Pinkman, because we all know Jesse Pinkman went through a hell of a lot in the show Breaking Bad. I mean, Eisenberg, Walter White put him through hell, and I mean, his story arc was good to see how he fell only to rise again, only to fall so that he could rise again. I mean, it's a great story for Jesse Pinkman. And Walter White did him dirty, did him bad, but he was almost like a son to him. So let's just jump in to the video with Screen Prism and see what they have to say about Jesse Pinkman.
Take a look at this scene from the Season 2 Breaking Bad episode Peekaboo. What does it reveal about Jesse Pinkman?
That he's a kind-hearted man.
Jesse notices a beetle on the ground. He squats down and examines it, fascinated.
He's kind.
He sees his friend approaching and stands up hurriedly.
Yo.
Skinny Pete walks up and crushes the beetle. Jesse looks down, a little sad, but doesn't say anything. This scene, without dialogue, and in just a few seconds, reveals the core of Jesse's character. Jesse is someone who looks at the world with childlike wonder. He's full of sympathy for the weakest, but he lives in a world that crushes the weak. So Jesse's story is about a loss of innocence.
That makes sense.
And like most things Breaking Bad, his transformation works both on a realistic level and on a heightened symbolic one. It can even be read as a dark version of the story of Christ. Jesse is an innocent in a world that punishes his virtue at every turn. And he suffers for the sins of his spiritual father / God, Walt. So let's look at why Jesse Pinkman lived for your sins.
Pushing it, in my opinion, but I see the relevance.
Before we go on, we want to tell you about this video's sponsor, Audible. Audible is the best audiobook service out there, with an unbelievable collection of audiobooks just waiting for you to download them and listen. Right now, you can get any book of your choice for free, and 30 days of an Audible membership for free. Just use our link, audible.com/screenprism, or text the code SCREENPRISM to 500-500. So go check it out.
Innocent child. Jesse the innocent child. That's it.
Jesse is nothing if not an overgrown kid at heart. With the Cap'n Cook license plates and ridiculous swagger.
Cheddar, Mr. White, fat stacks, dead presidents, cash money.
He's like a high schooler pretending to be a drug dealer. The oversized clothes make him look like a kid in hand-me-downs. Yes, we do meet Jesse jumping out of a woman's bedroom mid-tryst, but he's got a kid's innate humor and silliness.
Hey, since when did they change it to opossum? What's up with that? I mean, when I was coming up, it was just possum. You know, opossum makes it sound like he's Irish or something. I mean, why they gotta go changing everything? I mean, whatever.
Because he's a big kid himself, Jesse has a special affinity with children throughout the series.
Very
in Peekaboo, when he's looking for the meth heads who robbed Skinny Pete, he finds their neglected child.
Where's your folks? They here.
Jesse plays with the kid and tries to protect him.
Just don't go back inside, all right? You stay right here, okay?
He has a close bond with his little brother Jake, and he doesn't resent his brother for being the favorite son. And it's the murder of the unsuspecting kid in Heist that drives Jesse to try and
was
break all
fucked up.
ties with Walt's operation.
No reason to kill
Jesse
the
feels
kid, man.
connected to kids because in the world of Breaking Bad, it seems like, apart from Jesse, children are the only ones who can be innocent. Jesse's relationship with Jane starts like a sweet teen romance. They show each other their sketches and hold hands. But pretty soon they're doing heroin and blackmailing Walt.
Very quickly.
So very quickly, the innocence of their relationship has been lost. This arc of Jesse finding something good and then losing
up.
it and losing faith in the
I
world
mean,
and himself is
everything close to him
repeated
seemed to be
over
having
and
taken
over
away.
in the show.
By Walt, somebody thought cared for him.
Jesse may want to protect children from harm, but he's the one who needs protection. He's essentially an abandoned kid.
Hey, Dad. Hey,
I can
Mom.
relate.
His parents think he's a hopeless screw-up and want nothing to do with him. Jesse needs
His
someone to
biggest
tell him what to
mistake,
do.
looking for
And
love,
so he finds a
looking for a
parental
father
figure
figure in
in
Walt.
Walt.
Say it like you mean it.
I'm a blowfish.
That's true.
Their dynamic immediately resembles a father-son relationship.
3 entire bags of Funyuns?
Funyuns are awesome.
God.
Yeah.
How about something with some protein, maybe? Something green, huh?
Walt literally calls Jesse his son on more than one occasion.
You're good at a lot of things, son.
Look, I'm his father, all right? I can check on my
Walt
son's well-being.
Brilliantly uses that to manipulate him. He
You
knew
need
that
to
about
stop focusing
about him.
on the darkness behind you.
And
About
this is
Jesse, he was
especially
looking for
strange
love
because
and
Walt not
acceptance.
only has a very low opinion of Jesse,
Did your mother drop you on your head when you were a baby?
but also in fact has an
Yeah,
actual son,
because they
Walter
actually
Jr.
go through
Yet somehow
trials and
his
tribulations
relationship
together.
with Jesse feels more real and profound. Why is that? The answer is that Jesse is the
It
first
actually
and really only
sees Walt
person
for who
who
he
sees
is.
Walt's talent and power close up and admires Walt for those things.
This is pure glass. This is art.
Skylar's not high-fiving anyone over a good batch of meth. And Mike and Gus aren't fond of Walt either. Unfortunately, this father-son relationship is a deeply dysfunctional one.
You are a pathetic junkie!
Acceptance
Too
and
stupid
appreciation.
to understand and follow simple rudimentary instructions!
Jesse longs for appreciation, but Walt never gives it to him.
You said I was no good.
Always to manipulate.
I'm
Jesse.
nothing.
And when Walt does offer Jesse a positive affirmation, it's usually to manipulate him.
Your meth is good, Jesse.
The father-son dynamic makes it all the more tragic when Walter betrays Jesse's trust.
Would you just, for once, stop working me?
It's like he's hurting his own child. For a while, Jesse finds a new surrogate family in Gus and Mike. They treat him like a child too. Gus at one point has Mike essentially babysit Jesse.
Yeah.
I can smoke, right?
Not a chance.
But both Gus and Mike have a more genuine respect for Jesse than Walter does.
The kid's a hero.
Possessive Walt can't stand these rivals showing interest
Science,
in his
bitch.
Jesse. Jesse starts out with a great deal of loyalty and respect for Walt,
Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science.
but he ends completely disillusioned with his father figure.
And all for that asshole, Mr. White! He poisoned Brooke!
So in this sense, Jesse's arc mirrors a teen coming-of-age story, which is also often
I can
about a
relate
loss
with
of
the last one.
innocence and becoming disillusioned with the parents you thought were
Disillusioned
good
with
and
the world.
all-powerful,
Yeah, absolutely.
or with the world in general. Jesse even acts out the
Can
way a
relate
teen
to that
would
one also.
by throwing
I guess why
massive
this
parties
show reached me.
or angstily shutting everyone out. Jesse has been around longer than Walt on the drug scene, but it's clear that Walt is the natural here, while Jesse is out of place in the world of crime. He's not cut out for the survival
That's
of
how
the
it
fittest
is.
world of Breaking Bad. And so this
Can't have
world finds
any
endless
heart
ways of
in the life
punishing
of
Jesse's
crime if you
moral
choose that
purity.
life.
When
It's only
Walt
gonna get you
insists
killed.
they connect with a bigger drug dealer and they meet with Tuco,
Mr. White, it's too risky.
Jesse ends up in the hospital. When Walt tricks Hank into thinking
But
Marie
guilt-
is hurt, it's
guilt is a
Jesse who
powerful
again gets
emotion,
beaten
man.
to a pulp. And when Jesse isn't being beaten, he's beating himself up, often for things that aren't even his fault.
I almost shot you.
I'm so sorry.
He's consumed
And
with
then you just
guilt
try to
over the
do
deaths
good
of
to try
Combo,
to
Jane,
level out
and
the
Tomas,
emotions.
and over Brock ending up in the hospital.
Go ahead. Just take it. Take it.
Walt is a master at convincing
Yeah.
himself that his actions are morally necessary.
Too
No matter
empathetic.
how it may look, I only had you in my heart.
But
Yeah,
Jesse's
man,
the
that mind
opposite.
keep playing
He
tricks on you.
refuses to let himself off the hook.
You get caught up in this
I'm the bad
in
guy.
a certain
He
pattern
just
of
won't
thinking,
let
and you just
himself
can't
stop
break loose.
suffering.
So no matter what I do,
Absolutely.
hooray
This
for
show
me
really
because
reached
I'm a
me.
great guy. It's all good. No matter how many dogs I kill, I just
Yeah.
do an
To
inventory
want to be a good person.
and accept.
To feel good about your deeds.
So Jesse is
That's only,
punished again
in my
and
opinion,
again
it's
by
only
himself
normal
because of his
to have those
desire for
feelings.
virtue. He
But
tries and
those feelings
fails
can be
multiple
too powerful
times to get out of the
sometimes.
business.
I'm pretty much a self-starter, so.
I'm thinking there's a little misunderstanding.
Jesse passionately wants to do the right thing.
This man needs help.
This
That's a great point.
What's really sad is that Jesse suffers for sins that aren't even his. Slate's Jessica Winter made the point that
Yes,
Jesse
that's so
suffers
true.
for Walter's sins. As she wrote, you can judge the progress of
all of
Walter's
it.
moral corrosion at any given moment by measuring how hollowed out Jesse
Yes.
was, how pulped and zombified. Walt somehow has a hand in most of Jesse's pain, both directly
It's gonna have to be you.
and through chain reactions of destruction. Look at the situation with Jane. Walt pushes to expand their meth-selling business,
It's not our territory.
which results in Jesse's friend Combo getting killed over turf. Jesse blames himself for Combo's death and turns to drugs, causing Jane to start doing drugs again and introduce Jesse
grimiest
to
thing
heroin.
Walt
The innocent
has
romance
did
they
in that
had
show.
is gone. Then
And
Walt
just
shakes
watch.
Jesse, causing Jane to roll over on her back and start choking. And Walt chooses to stand by while she dies. Every time Jesse experiences
Walt.
tragedy, does something terrible, or blames himself for something, Walt is directly or indirectly behind it.
Everything I have ever cared about
Say my name.
is gone. Ruined. Turned to shit. Dead ever since I hooked up with the great Heisenberg.
So after all
Walt
these ways
really
that
did
Walt
love
punishes
him
and
as a
abuses
son.
Jesse,
He really did,
the
but
question that many people
he
ask
still
after the series finale
let
is,
his ego
why does Walter save him in
and
the
his-
end? This is
and
the
his-
mystery
he
at
let
the
his
heart of the
ego
ending.
and his quest
Just
to
as
save
the
his
strength of
real
your
original
connection is a
family
mystery throughout the show. The dark interpretation
surpassed
of the end
his
is
love
that
for
by choosing to let
That's
Jesse
really what it
live at a
was.
point where Jesse has lost everything he has to live for, Walt once again asserts his dominance
Yeah,
over the boy.
to make money.
But on the lighter side, he may be driven to protect Jesse
Yeah.
because of a last faint parental instinct.
To
In the
make
beginning,
money.
Walt needs Jesse to boost Heisenberg's ego. But his reasons for needing Jesse
Yeah.
evolve. By
That's
the
a
end
good
of
way
the
to put
show,
it.
Heisenberg is a
Heisenberg
legend
says.
and he doesn't need ego boosting anymore. But he seems to want Jesse around for something else. Jesse is Walt's true son, and it would actually be better to say that he is Heisenberg's son. And as his life comes to an end in the final episodes, Heisenberg is concerned with his legacy. So he needs Jesse because Jesse's the one who's known Heisenberg the best from the beginning. The one who truly carries
Yeah.
on the memory of who
But-
his spiritual father was. Thus, we can see a selfish aspect
The
to
trials
the
and
final act of
tribulations
saving Jesse
brings
so that
people
Heisenberg
together.
can still live on in Jesse's mind. But we can also see that Heisenberg has always somehow loved this kid, for reasons that neither of them ever truly
That's
understand.
a little far, but I'm not religious, so it doesn't
So
offend
Jesse
me in
is
any way.
taking upon himself the sins of others,
Yeah.
bearing the marks
That
on
was
his body
crazy,
and soul,
right there.
and thanks to all this suffering, Jesse can be seen as a Jesus figure. Jesse isn't quite the image of obvious virtue you'd associate with Christ. But that makes sense because of the world we're situated in. If Jesse is Jesus and Heisenberg is his father, that makes Heisenberg God the Father. But he's a bad god of a very twisted, corrupt world. So what we're seeing is Jesus if he weren't the Son of God, but of a devil instead.
Mr. White, he's the devil. You know, he is smarter than you. He is luckier than you.
whatever you think is
Okay.
supposed
I
to
can see
happen. I'm telling you, the exact reverse opposite of that
When you
is
told
gonna
her
happen.
that,
Okay?
Jesse.
that
And
was
since
fucked
Jesse
up,
is a
man.
devil's Jesus,
Still, only
that's
to
why he's not really
manipulate him.
suffering for the sins of all mankind, but for the sins of his father in particular.
I watched her overdose and choke to death. I could have saved her,
I see the connection. Okay,
but I didn't.
okay.
We get a few hints at this Jesus connection in the show. Jesus was a carpenter, and Jesse mentions that he would like to be a woodworker because he enjoyed the craft in high school.
I built it out of Peruvian walnut with inlaid zebra wood. It was fitted with pegs, no screws.
Yeah.
I sanded it for days until it was smooth as glass.
Later, when Jesse is locked in the lab of Uncle Jack's gang, he fantasizes about building
Yeah.
another box. The scene
Killing
is shot
Andrea, man,
luminously
that
and feels
really
even
didn't
more
have to- they
clearly
didn't have
like
to
a
do that at
Christian
all.
association.
Only to really
The
punish him.
time Jesse spends in captivity could be a parallel to the time between Jesus' death and resurrection. After Jesse witnesses Todd killing Andrea, he's locked in a pit, which could be interpreted as corresponding to the cave Jesus' body was kept in after the crucifixion. Jesse's hair and beard are longer than they've ever been in the series, also bringing to mind a biblical martyr. And then the resurrection
deeper
comes
meaning.
when Walt sets Jesse free from captivity. But Jesse's final escape is a dark resurrection. He's not returning to heaven, he's returning to a bad earth from an even worse hell, and there's no foreseeable end to his suffering. So what's the deeper meaning of all this? Why have this symbolic
Because
dark
there's no
Jesus
place
story woven
for
in
good
here at
virtues and
all?
good
Jesse,
intentions
as this
in the
pure
life of
innocence
crime,
abused
the
and
world of
beaten up
crime.
throughout the story, illuminates the darkness
Nope.
at the core of the Breaking Bad world. Evil actions may be punished here, but good intentions and the desire to be virtuous are answered far more
I guess
severely.
people really can. When it comes
Jesse
to
brings
life,
to mind the maxim, no good deed goes
almost the
unpunished.
same.
He's a reminder that trying to be good doesn't mean that good things will happen to you in return. In fact, in Breaking Bad, virtue is a clear disadvantage. So if we want to hold on to our moral goodness, we have to do so regardless of the outcome. We have to be prepared to suffer for it, and for it to go completely unacknowledged and unappreciated. In spite of everything he experiences, Jesse never
only the
goes
right
Walt's
thing to do.
utilitarian way of weighing the value of not hurting other people against the value of some greater good or
Science,
power
bitch.
he desires. In spite of everything, Jesse keeps the faith in what he believes to be good.
What would Jesse
not
do?
hurting
It depends
others,
on the situation.
protecting children, and treating
the kid's
people
involved,
equally.
I guess you
and
know
he
he's gonna
holds
do the right
himself
thing.
accountable. So, if we're ever in
Screen
doubt, we
Prism,
can always ask
a
ourselves,
great analysis
what would
of
Jesse do?
Jesse Pinkman and
Have a
his
good rest of your life.
story.
Kid.
This video was brought to you by Audible. Have you ever thought about
I mean, 1, 2, 3. We all know that Jesse Pinkman went through hell working with Walter White, the God figure Eisenberg. I mean, the analogy saying that Jesse Pinkman is actually the devil's son and Eisenberg is the devil. I mean, he actually was. I mean, they always in the Bible doesn't it say that the good road or the road to evil is usually paved in good intentions or something to that fact? But Eisenberg was evil, even though his intentions were supposedly noble, trying to set up his family for when he dies from the cancer. But Screen Prism, excellent job with this analysis of Jesse Pinkman and his rise and fall as he said, as almost a Jesus-like figure, which is a little bit of a force or a stretch in my opinion, but I do see the analogy. I do see the comparison. So tell me what you thought about this video. Tell me what you thought about my reaction to the video. Comment down below. Please like and subscribe. This is Presley from P.P.R. Presley's Passions and Reactions. I'm your boy Presley, and I'm out.